Hi, I'm CJ and this is my RC channel. In this video I'm going to be doing the pre-first run tuning. This is the setup that I'm going to take to the track for the first time and see what the car can do, learn how to drive it, how it reacts, etc., and then progress from there. So first thing you need to do is get the ride height. You want to adjust down stops if the car has them. Then you want to set your ride height, and that needs to be done with a body, and preferably with a body and a battery or batteries if you're running 2 batteries. The car needs to be ready to race, so everything should be on it so you has the weight to adjust that ride height. Then you do droop if applicable, track width again if applicable, camber gain, caster toe, steering throw and steering symmetry, and tweak, and then you're ready to go. So the first thing you want to do is, like I said, ride height. So let's start by seeing what our ride height is. So I've set my ride height gauge. Oh, another thing you need to have with you, you need a tuning kit, preferably. A lot of stuff you can do with a few basic tools, but having a good tuning kit's nice. You need to have your setup sheet that has the numbers that you want the car to be set up for. So your baseline, and then you can change from there as you test. But you need somewhere to start from. So in my case, I've got a front and rear ride height of 16 millimeters. Now I wanted to show you a little something regarding batteries. I've got my battery in here. I'm a big fan of safety, and I never want my house to burn down, especially all my hobby stuff, my wife and my dog, etc. So I'm very careful with my lipos. Lipos, once they start swelling, they get sent out. Never just throw them in the trash, because they're going to end up in a landfill. They're going to burst. They could start a fire, or at the very least they're going to leak volatile stuff. A lot of racetracks or hobby stores will dispose of batteries for you. So I just take mine up to the shop and throw them in the bucket. When I have them at home, I put them in a storage charge, and I have a lipo safe bag, a little fireproof bag for each battery. And then I also put them in a larger battery bag, which gives me a little extra protection. Now, you can get metal containers, you can put them out back, you can get cement and build yourself a pillbox. Do whatever you want, but at least do something to keep your batteries safe and isolated. I like to write on these bags what each battery is, and then make sure they go back in. These are some new batteries I'm using. It's the Spectrum's version 2 of their smart batteries. These are 6300 2S batteries, 120C, 7.6 volt. Now, there's one thing that I really like about these batteries, and that is that they come with their own charging cord. It's in the box with the battery. So I put the charging cord in the bag, and that way I've always got them handy. I have enough of them so I can do multiple charges. I also have a couple of smart chargers. One of the things I really like about these batteries is that you can program them to discharge to a safe storage voltage on their own. You need one of the higher end chargers to do this. The little teeny box chargers won't do it. You get the they're around 200 bucks, but they're definitely worth every penny. And you go into the menu and you set how long before it goes into discharge mode. I usually set them up for like 48 hours, and I charge my batteries the night before the race, and that way if I don't get to the track, like I wake up and it's pouring rain, I don't have to discharge a half dozen batteries. That's a real pain in the neck, and it takes a while. for the charger to do that on its own. So if you just program the battery to do that, the batteries are going to last longer. They're not going to swell. You're going to have a much better experience. Now, it doesn't hurt to, after a few days, go back, plug the thing in and check to make sure that it did its discharge. But it's nice to have that in the background, because I have had more than once, charged 6, 8, 10 batteries, and then the next morning it's pouring down rain, and I got to put all those batteries back on the charger and discharge them down to the safe voltage. You never want to leave them fully charged for any length of time. It's just not a good thing. Now, another nice thing about these is, compared to some of the high-end batteries like the Red Lines and the ProTech RC batteries, which I have a couple of, I like them. These are lightest, and they're a little shorter, but the main thing is the weight. So any weight you can save is always good. I'm a fanatic about saving weight. So I just throw these in their bag, and that way when I'm ready to charge it, I know I've got a charging cord handy. That was something that it was always kind of a pain, because I have so many different batteries, and different barrel connectors. Some of them are 4mm, some of them are 5mm. Having the right cord with the battery is just a bonus, and they're not more expensive. They're actually very reasonably priced compared to the other batteries. They're in the same price range, and those cords, if you buy them on their own, they're like $10, $15, not including shipping. So anyway, let me redrop this, and like I said, I've got it set for 16mm. So the front is a little low, and the rear is high by a decent amount. I would say at least 4mm high, and that's a problem because I'm at the limit, or close to the limit, for my springs. So I already pulled these out anticipating this. I'm going to switch the shock cups, because the build recommended the medium size. So I'm going to go ahead and pull those off and swap them out. That'll be easier to do with the rear tires off. You see how easy that stud kit is? That really pays off. Now, you don't need to super tighten your wheels when you're doing this process, because you're going to be taking them right back off again once you've got your ride height done. Well, it depends on what tools you have. If you've just got a few basic items, you're going to be using your wheels. Hopefully, at the very least, you've got a set of setup wheels. And if you don't have those, if you've got, a tuning kit, that's even better. Okay, let's see how this does now. Still like a millimeter tall. like it's right on. Okay, good. So let me just give you some food for thought, different tuning tools you can get your hands on. DE Racing makes a very nice set of setup wheels. Here's 1/10 scale, and this is their 1/8 scale. They have swappable little hubs here for different hex sizes. This is another nice little kit. This is maybe $20. This is just for 10 scale. And you put these on your rear wheels and these on your fronts, and then you can take things like a camber gauge, and instead of trying to adjust your camber based on the tire, because the tire is gonna, you know, bulge at the bottom and whatnot, you're not gonna get a good reading. These or something like this will give you a very good camber reading, and then you can do your toe more or less by eye if you have to. Better than nothing, but it's definitely nice to have a decent setup for this. Pretty much the minimum things you're going to need is a ride height gauge, camber gauge, and a set of test wheels. Now, they also make test wheels like these. They're not very expensive. It's just a little aluminum wheel. Ride height gauges for road cars, where you've got a much smaller, a lower ride height, and it's finer adjust. Set of blocks that you put under the body to adjust things like droop. All good things to have in your tuning kit. I've picked these up over a period of years as I you know, bought better and better equipment. Actually, I don't need this. So now I use this. This is my favorite. I've got some hoodie tuning tools as well. This is my new favorite. I like this even better than the hoodie tools because it works across 10 scale and 1/8 scale on and off-road. So let me go ahead, and now that I've got the ride height set, let me take these wheels off. So I didn't want to waste time with you watching me unscrew the 4 wheel butt nuts and take them off. This is a very nice kit for the money. It's about $200, $190. You can just go to Google up like IntegrRC.com and you'll find it on their site. You can order it directly from them or order it from a hobby store. Now, one of the things I've always had a problem with is the rulers that come with like the hoodie kits. And I hate to, you know, badmouth hoodie, but their rulers are too narrow. For almost every car that I have, the ruler just isn't wide enough, especially the 1/8 scale kit. I don't know how they expect you to get by with that, but you know, such as it is. So this is one of the rulers. You can set it up like this, which is fine for almost everything I have. That's huge. And if you've really got a wide track vehicle, you can use this piece here and assemble yourself a mammoth ruler. So I'm just going to use the shorter one. I think the only thing I have that would actually need that big one might be my 1/7 scale car. They give you a nice list of most of the manufacturers and the various kits that they have and which adapters you should use. The adapters are these pieces right here. Basically, it converts 1/10 scale hubs or axles to an 1/8 scale size outdrive, and then you can connect with the uprights, and you're in business. Now, right off the bat, I've got a few little screws that I need to set up. First, I need the 4 Phillips head, not Phillips head, excuse me, countersunk screws. And that lets me assemble my ruler. So you kind of snap that together, and then you put one of these guys underneath. This is one thing that you're just going to have to deal with any of these kits, is it takes a few minutes to assemble, but the results are so worth it. Now, not that anyone in our hobby would ever steal anything. When you go to the tracks, I would keep a close eye on my stuff, because these are expensive and they are coveted, and sometimes they are out of stock for months on end. And you know, not that anyone would steal, but A, keep an eye on it. B, I would get an engraving tool, as I plan to do, and I would put my initials and or phone number, whatever, some type of identifying marks on these pieces. That's a lot of work. Again, not that anyone would ever steal anything, and I've never had anything turn up missing, but you know, as I grow in the hobby, I get more and more expensive items, and I want to make sure they come home with me. So now I got to set these guys up here. You need one for each side, and that's where these 4 screws come in, with one of these pieces. Now, just to kind of show you, this is going to be attached to your wheel, or to where your wheel would be, and it's going to be standing on this, and so your camber is easily read on this gauge right here. Depending on how much angle the wheel would have, you're going to be able to see that right there. Now, these are for caster and don't apply to any of my vehicles, because caster is set through fixed pieces, like a 5-degree plate or a 20-degree block at the front, things like that. So I'm just going to fast forward through this. So Nope, those are not the right ones. I hope I have the right ones. I may have to do them backwards like I did on my other car. These are basically designed to fit different vehicles. Like these are gonna... Nope, those are not gonna go for that, so I'm gonna set those aside. Okay. For example, we have an axle here, but there's a stub that's wider. So these little adapters here have a portion that is wider, and then there's a threaded part that is threaded up for 110s. So we just screw that on like so. And then we can take pieces there and hang that up like so. This is just a very nicely thought out kit here. You don't have to make these super tight, they just have to be snug so things aren't going to move. Now, here's something I figured out with these for the fronts. It's going to be the same thing that I had to do on my other car with, because there's like 3 other adapters, sets of these that I don't have. May not even need them ever. But what I can do that's different here is take this, and instead of putting it on backwards where it's not gonna, the threads aren't gonna reach because that's just a little stub of axle, I can tighten this down like that. And remember, this is on a ball bearing, so I can just put this right on here like that. As long as everything is snug and there's no jiggle, everything works properly. Now I really should take the body off of here. That way I can see the front steering rack. And just to make this a little easier on me, I'm gonna spin this 90 degrees. So the back end is going to be really easy. There's only so much to adjust there. All we really have is our camber, and our camber for the rear is -1 degrees. And like I said, I had already done a basic tune on this, so things are really close. All I need to do is adjust for having whatever changed as far as doing the droop, or the making the ride height changes. Anytime you change ride height, that throws off your camber, because if you've got any camber gain at all, that's going to change your camber from a resting position. Okay, so this one is, let me just take a picture here. I can show you what these gauges look like. I am at -2. So I need to tighten this in a little bit. Okay. No, I'm going the wrong direction. Okay, that's -1. Same thing. Wouldn't have been a bad idea to take the wing off ahead of this. Not too much. A little more. Okay, perfect. -1 on both sides. And that's the only adjustments for the rear that doesn't involve swapping out parts. The front end is a little different. So let's check our camber. Let's see what our sheet says. -1 camber for the front as well. So we are at -1 and we're at -1. So that's good. Don't need to touch that. Let's see. Now for steering, what we want to do is we want to adjust this so it's dead in the center here. And the steering servo looks like it's upright. So this is adjusted to this being center. And then we need to adjust our wheels individually to get our correct toe. Now that's where the ruler comes in. Those go over the 2 knobs down here, and that allows it to slide back and forth. When it's all the way to one side, you've got your steering line right there, and you can see where that is. And then you can see this one, whether it's towed in or towed out. And our toe is +1 to +0.5. So we've got a little more, like halfway between 1 and +1. This one is towed out a little more. Sometimes if there's too much light, it can be hard to read these things. And not enough light is just as bad. So I want to take out a little bit there. And that was a quick change. there we go. Now we don't need this for the rear because that's not an adjustment that we have. We don't have rear steering or a rear toe adjustment. That's done through the pills. So that's all there is to that. Car's set, ready to go to the track. Sorry that wasn't more entertaining, more dramatic, but like I said, the car was pretty close to being set up already. So now all I need to do is take all this stuff off, take it back apart, and put it back in its nice little carry bag. So I am going to say goodbye for this video. We are done. The next time you see this car, it will be at the track, getting its first runs in. I hope you've enjoyed watching this build. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you've learned a lot, or at least something.